How are you? My name is Chadwick Ray. I am one of the managing partners of Ray Financial Group, which is an affiliate of the Alliance, where our motto is protecting families and growing leaders. If you were looking through this overview at this moment, either you have been referred by somebody that already works with our company and they want to give you a lot more detail about the company in a short amount of time, or you have applied to one of our ads that we have put out, possibly mentioning that you have the ability to speak an additional language, a foreign language that everybody out there doesn't speak. You have native fluency. I mean, you're looking to use that as an asset and make some good money on a part-time basis, possibly even roll into full-time if you work well with our company. What we hope to do in this little overview here is just give you a lot of detail of the company, of who we are, what we do, and what we're looking for. Normally, we get quite a few applicants, so this is a way that we can get you a ton of details that should be able to give you an understanding of if this is a fit on your end. And then once you get back in contact with us, we can make sure that you are indeed a fit on our end. We will be breaking down, number one, what we're looking for. Number two, the market that we work in. Number three, how do we help people? Number four, the carriers that help us to help our clients. And number five, the system. Now, as we're looking to hire a candidate, who are we looking to hire? What type of characteristics are we looking to bring on? Well, we prefer that someone speak natively or fluently another language. If you look over to the right, here are several different communities and languages that we're looking to expand into. If you say, hey, I belong to a community or I speak a language that's not represented over there, we are not limited to what we have written there. We're looking to expand mightily. But you have to have a deep desire to make a difference. You have to want to do good in that community. One of the first things we're going to tell you to do is reach out, and educate the community and the people all around you that speak that same language that may have had a communication barrier with people that don't speak the language. Reach out. So you do have to be well connected in that community as well. If you are the only person around you that knows how to speak that language, you don't know anybody from the community, it might not work that well, because really you're going to serve almost as an ambassador, and we'll go a little bit more deep into that. But for the person that has an aggressive desire to make money and they have the ability to speak that other language and they're connected in the community and they have a deep desire to make a difference and do good, that's the person that will make quite a bit. So you have to have an aggressive desire to make that money. Now, the market you work in is extremely important. At the end of the day, you can have the shiniest gadget in the world, but if nobody wants to buy it, you're going to go broke. Now, the good news is the market we work in is massive, massive, massive. We work with the baby boomers. That's people born in between the ages of 1946 to 1964. And what a lot of people don't know is they have driven every market since the time they were born. When they were born, Gerber came along and they said, we're going to get rich. We're going to automate the process. We're going to give them baby food instead of the mama having to continue to mash up the carrots and the peas. They got a little older. Tyco and Mattel said, we're going to give them toys. We're going to get rich. And they did. They got a little older. They wanted to get a car. They didn't want their mom's station wagon. They wanted an SUV. When they got a little older, they said, we're ready to buy a house. This is when the housing boom comes along. Majority of them were in a position where they couldn't afford the house that they were in, so that's when we dealt with the housing crunch. Everything that the baby boomers have touched has had a massive impact. Now they are turning 65 at the rate of 10,000 per day. The first one hit 65 January 1st of 2011, and they will continue to for about the next 20 years. We also deal in middle income America. We don't try to run after the 1% of the company and try to get rich from those 1%. And we also don't deal with the bottom of the pool either that need government assistance. We can't make money if they're being helped out by the government. What we are dealing with is the middle 80% of America. They are the biggest but most underserved market. Now, how do we help them? A couple of different ways. One is mortgage protection, which is straightforward. If somebody dies, gets ill or disabled, it pays the house off. If you think back years ago when everybody was losing their house, you would think it was because everybody worked in construction and lost their job. But typically it was if one of those main breadwinners had an illness, a death, or disability, then the family left behind didn't have any money coming in to continue to pay for the mortgage. And we help people out through a couple of different ways. Final expense that pays off their burial arrangements, retirement protection. We make sure that people's money stays safe, where by law they'll never lose another dime. So it's not in the market. We also help people to avoid taxes in retirement, which is a big, big deal. Now, all of those things are literally just different forms of life insurance. And here's a couple of startling statistics when it comes to life insurance. Number one, an overwhelming percentage of Americans agree that life insurance is important, but only 44% have it. That is less than half of America that actually even owns their own insurance. That was as of year 2010. Now, in the year 1992, 55% had it. And in the year 1960, 72% had it. So we're talking about a significant decrease over the last 50 years of the amount of people that even own life insurance. And out of those people, the 44% that actually do own life insurance, almost half of them recognize that they don't even have enough. And 70% of every U.S. household with children under the age of 18 would have trouble meeting everyday living expenses within a few months if a primary wage earner were to die today. So an example of that is you have a husband and a wife, and all of a sudden, let's say the husband is making more, and God forbid he dies. The wife and kids that are left behind within a couple of months, they can't even keep the lights on. Everyday expenses, they can't pay the car bill. A tire getting blown out is going to be a catastrophic problem if one of those main breadwinners were to pass away. Here's a couple more statistics. 83% of consumers say they don't purchase more life insurance because they think it's probably too expensive. But the actual cost of insurance is actually 3 times lower than what the typical consumer believes. The average insurance policy is actually less than most homes' monthly cell phone bill, cable bill, auto insurance, and even their monthly coffee expense. Again, people spend more money in coffee than the typical average insurance policy. And most of the time it's because they don't even understand life insurance. 70% of Americans failed a recent 10-question basic life insurance IQ test. What is it? What does it do? How long does it last? How much does it cost? What does it do? And these are stats when we're talking about mainstream America. Now here's what's important. Here's the reason that we have out ads looking for people that speak different languages. Because the stats only get worse in many other cultures. And the reason why is it's a lack of communication. We can't communicate, then there's going to be an absence of trust. And most people don't take the time to really try to communicate if there's some type of communication barrier. So we need good-hearted people that we can train so you can go out and see the people. We need ambassadors that can communicate with passion and make a difference in the community. Now, who are the people that actually pay you? It's our large insurance carriers. They're the people that pay you. We have about 12 that we have on our roster that we work through. We have some that we use more than others, but all of them are A-rated and billion-dollar companies. An example is Mutual of Omaha. They're a Fortune 500 company. Been around since 1909, $14.9 billion. Transamerica, been around since 1906, $31 billion. Forrester's, a 135-year-old company, $6.2 billion company. And one of the things I like about them is with all the money that we make in our company and all the individuals like yourself you would make, these companies send you on all expenses paid trips around the country as a thank you. When I first came on board, I was broke as can be, no passport. I started this company and I've been on in the past 6 years, maybe 11 all expenses paid trips around the country. Mutual of Omaha sent me and my wife to Punta Cana, Dominican Republic for a week. Forrester's sent us to Fiji for a week. Transamerica, as well as other carriers, sent us on a Caribbean cruise. Every year it's maybe anywhere from 1 to 2 all expenses paid trips that they send you on for free. And a few advantages of working with the specific carriers we work with. There's no medical exam, meaning no person prodding at you with a needle or asking you to give your urine or any of that stuff, which is very good because insurance companies, if they do check you, they are looking for problems. If they can charge you more, they will. If they can find anything that they really don't want to cover, they can. But if there's no physical examiner, they're just going to say, hey, well, do you have anything crazy in your background? Okay, well, then you're good to go with us. It gets issued in a day or two. You get paid a day or two after that. So you're not waiting a month to get paid after you help out these families. You're getting paid a couple of days after that. The amount that you cover yourself with, the death benefit face amount, is never going to drop. It will always stay the same. And it's going to cover you no matter what happens to you. Accident, disability, sickness, it doesn't matter. And then also there's some options that, God forbid you die, is going to pay. But if you stay alive, they will return all of the premiums you paid into them. It's a full refund. And we have policies that we give out like that all the time. Now, what's some examples of benefits that come along with some of these policies and options? One of them is what's called return of premium. And the way that it works is, let's say, God forbid, the client dies and he has a $100,000 life insurance policy. The family is going to get paid $100,000. It'll help them to sustain and do whatever they need to do financially. But there's also an option called return of premium, to where if you stay alive, they will give you back a 100% return of the premium that you paid in over the years at the end of the term. So let's say it's that policy for $100,000 cost $80 a month. That means they're paying just shy of $1,000 a year, and let's say it's a 30-year term. If he dies in 30 years, then the family's going to get $100,000. But if at the end of 30 years, if he's still breathing, as long as he's still alive, the family's going to get back just shy of $30,000. Why? Because that's what he paid in, down to the penny. That's an option. How many people could you help with a product like that? No matter what, the family is going to get paid. There's also some policies called living benefits, to where you don't necessarily have to die to get some type of benefit. If you maybe you just have a serious illness, maybe you have a heart attack, a stroke, cancer, there's huge amounts of money that will come into the family, because hopefully you don't have to die for every benefit. Of course, there's term policies where it'll cover you for maybe 10 years, 15, 20, 25, 30 years. And then there's some policies that will last for life, and it even builds a little cash fund. It's called like cash value. We also have some policies that are complementary benefits. One being, there's our competitive scholarships. One company, they will give kids $8,000 to go to college. Now, I know that's a lot of money, because they give it out to 250 kids every single year. And the criteria is you have to have a C+ average. And I always tell people, if your kids have an F average, they probably don't plan to go to school anyway, or if they do, they'll go to a community college, get their grades up, and then they can still apply for this scholarship. 250 kids. The reason that one of these companies can afford to do it is because they're a not-for-profit company, and all they do is they give their money back to their clients. Another way they give it back to their clients is what's called an orphan benefit. Let's just say you have a mommy and a daddy. Both of them are making money. God forbid they die. Who's going to take care of those children? Let's say it's their mother, their mother-in-law, which is the grandmother of the children. She's going to start to receive $900 per child per month until those kids hit the age of 18. We always tell people the purpose of it isn't to make the legal guardian rich, but it's going to make sure that in addition to the emotional side of what the family's dealing with, at least financially the kids are going to be okay. Also, there's an automatic $24,000 that comes in to those kids to go to school. They don't have to apply for that. They don't have to be awarded. It just comes in automatically. So, for example, let's say you have a mommy and a daddy. They have 3 kids, a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 5-year-old. God forbid that mom and dad gets into a car accident, boom. Whoever's the legal guardian is going to start to receive a free benefit of $486,000 just to help take care of the children. And then once they hit the age of 18, there's going to be about $72,000 in scholarships that are going to come to these kids for free, no matter how big or how small their policy is with one of our companies. It's a complimentary benefit. How many families could you help out in your community with something like that? It's interesting that we have companies like McDonald's or Chick-fil-A where they can hire kids at minimum wage, but the company be worth millions of dollars and have a ton of money in revenue. And the reason they can do that, regardless of the people's backgrounds, is because they have a system. And as long as you follow the system, then there's going to be money to be made. There's going to be a lot of revenue that comes in. We have the same thing with Ray Financial. Our system, we have an activity book that breaks down all different aspects and stats of the activity that you're putting in. That way, us as managers, we can help to coach you along and teach you how to make more money based on what you're doing. We also have a university of training curriculum that you can constantly reference, which is very good for you personally because it's going to help to kind of train you up. And then also it's good because you can hire people, and you can hire them based on their attitude and their personality and not just simply their work experience or their education. So if you look at our company, we have a diverse background. We have people that were former accountants like myself, engineers, nurses, firefighters, military, IT workers, social workers, and yes, every now and again we'll come across somebody that used to be an insurance agent before. At the end of the day, it's their attitude and their personality we're looking for. So I'll break down quickly exactly how does the money work. You go out, you make a sale, you help somebody out with mortgage protection, final expense, whatever it is they're asking for. The average nationwide monthly premium that they pay is around $85 a month. Now, if you take that amount and you multiply it times 12 months, then instead of the monthly premium, you have what's called annual premium, which the average annual premium that the client pays per year is around $1,000. Now, the companies pay you, we call it 55% contract rate, but an easy way to say it is they're going to pay you about half of what the client is paying on the year. So for easy math, every time you go out and you make a sale, you make around $500 a pop. Okay, sometimes you're going to make $300, sometimes you're going to make $3,000, but the average is $500. So how in the world did I make the kind of money that I made on a part-time schedule? Well, I have several people that I've taught to do the exact same thing. The typical part-timer is going to be putting in around 10 to 15 hours. And 7 to 8 of those hours, you're going to be reaching out to people. Now, how will you do that? Well, I have a buddy, he comes from the Haitian community, and what he said that he does is he'll reach out to the Haitian community. He said every single week, like he'll go to a different church, that's in the Haitian community, and he'll meet people, he'll get to know them, he'll talk to the pastor and say, hey, are you making sure, that people are aware? He said he doesn't necessarily do it the first time he sees them. He said he'll go and link up with different networking clubs for that specific community. So it's your job, and what you're going to bring to the company is your ability to speak to people, the fact that you're connected to them, and you need to sit down and brainstorm and think about it. You could literally build a list of 100 people that you've known out of that community and reach out to them. And once you set up, 10, 15 appointments, and you make yourself $3 to $4 grand, just get really, really good at getting referrals from them out of that same market. But anyways, 7 to 8 hours you're reaching out. 2 to 3 hours you're probably going to be actually in the home with appointments that you have set up. Once you get normal, at first you probably have a lot of appointments, but eventually you probably get to about 2 to 3 hours in the home. You're going to help about half the people that you sit with. You'll probably go through about 2 to 3 hours of training. And again, on a part-time basis, if you're sitting down with 2 to 3 people, you'll help out 1 to 2 per week. That's going to make you anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a week in commission. That means on the year, as long as you're consistent, you're going to make anywhere from about $26,000 to $52,000 a year part-time. I know those numbers sound crazy. I thought they sounded crazy the first time I saw them, but I could show you my bank statements if you want me to. I made 45 grand. From a full-timer, let's say that you've done this thing part-time, you've done it 6 months or however long, and you feel comfortable, I think I can do this thing on a full-time basis. Well, you're going to be working about 40 hours. 20 of those hours, you're going to be doing the same thing, reaching out. Maybe you're going to this organization, you're going to that organization, you're sitting down, you're brainstorming, how am I going to get out to my community? 5 to 6 hours, you're probably going to be in the home. You're going to spend about 5 to 6 hours training. And again, you're going to help out about half the people you see until you get the hang of it. Then it should be a little closer to 75% of the people you see because there's already trust there. You're going to help out 3 to 4 of the people that you sit down with. That's going to make you anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 a week. And again, some people do even more than that, but that's about a $52,000 to $104,000 a year full-time income. And our part-time agents help out about 4 to 5 people a week, and our top full-time agents help out about 9 to 10 people weekly. That Haitian friend that I was talking about, he said that he'll pass out 5 business cards to the people that he's helped out. Every single client, he'll give out at least 5. And he said he'll get calls every single week from people from that community that says, hey, I need some help. We need ambassadors, and that's what we're looking for. Now, when I first got involved into the insurance industry, I remember hearing a lot that if you really work hard in this industry, you can make a serious amount of money. And I don't mean just $100,000 a year. You can make multiple 6 figures every single year. You can make millions in this business. As a matter of fact, I took their advice and I ran hard. I made around $45,000 as a part-timer my first year because I actually started out with an accounting background, no sales background at all. And then I ended up getting involved on a full-time basis, and I've never made less than a 6-figure income since. As a matter of fact, I've been making multiple 6 figures for years now. Right now, I'm focusing on trying to get to the $1 million income, but he said the way that you do that, the way that you make more money you ever thought you could make, is you have to join with a unified vision with the CEO of this company. And his is one of growth. Right now, this is a $100 million company. He wants it to be a $1 billion company. He wants it to be a $10 billion company. Remember the stats that we talked about. 44% of people have insurance, and half of those people realize that they need more. There are so many people out there that need insurance. I looked at one statistic. It said 95% of America, they don't own enough life insurance to even pay their mortgage off if they died. Not to mention the fact that their income needs to be replaced, because remember, if not, then the family that's left behind is going to have problem with the everyday expenses. So we need manpower. We need women power too. And these insurance companies pay big time bonuses to people that refer good, sharp talent to the company. Now, in corporate world, we're used to seeing it. They call it an organizational chart. You'll have the guy at the top, that's the president and CEO. He has a couple of vice presidents, and the vice president has a couple people that he oversees in management, and then the managers have several people in their staff that they oversee. What you don't realize is the person at the bottom may make $24 an hour, but the work that they do may very well be worth $72 an hour, where you see next to the president and CEO. So every hour that the staff person works is worth $72, and the difference between the president and the vice president, we call that spread and override. That's how it works. So if you look over to the right, it says, note, for every hour that the staff works, it actually makes the company $16 an hour in profit. And that's how a business thrives. In our world, it works the exact same way. We can go through more detail on it, but long story short, we'll just teach people that say, I want to help build this business. You got a lot of people asking for it. Why not I be the person that's managing this business? I can have my own little agency that I've trained. So we'll teach you how to hire yourself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Right? And out of that, you're probably going to end up having one person that's like, I want to build it just like you. I'm trying to make some upper echelon type of money. You might have another person that's like, maybe I'll just have one person, maybe a buddy of mine. Maybe I'll run one ad and find one person. And then you'll have several other people, in this case, 2 people that says, hey, I just want to sell. I just want to go out and help a family here and there. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is that they desire to do, you help them to achieve that. And what happens is, with this example of what you're looking at, if everybody does just one sale per week, meaning that they're working 5 hours or maybe less per week, you would actually make $8,600 per month. About $3,200 would be from your personal sales. Again, you're only closing down one sale, not 2, 3, as we suggested. And about $5,400 would be overrides, or we call them spreads in the insurance industry, based on the business that you have put together. And I always tell people, think about if you've built a business that looks like this and you also sell 3 to 6 policies per week instead of just one. Well, that's what I did about my 3rd year in the business, and that's how I made $184,000. Now, I would say either of which, if you just want to sell only or build a business while you sell, either of which are okay. Just like buying a house or renting a house, both of those are fine. The only problem is you don't want to rent out a house for 30 years. Why? Because at the end of 30 years, you have nothing to show for it versus buying. But there's nothing wrong with renting for a little while. So if somebody wants to sell only, and let's say somebody, it makes more sense to me to just go out here and sell and help families, that's completely fine. You'd be self-employed, you'd have a job, but a very high-paying job, but it is indeed a job. And we will be focused on building your wealth, and you'd be traveling the beaches of the world. Because again, remember, these carriers send you on trips every single year. Now, if you're selling while you're trying to build the business, in addition to that, then not only are you self-employed, but you're also a business owner. And as opposed to you just working a job, you're really working on a dream. And instead of you just building your own wealth, you're also building your family's wealth. Again, this is money that you'll be bringing in whether you are selling or not. Or you may look 2 years down the road and you're not selling anymore because of the business that you built. And this is not only going to build your wealth, but because you have a business, this is something you can will to your family. And you'll obviously be traveling the beaches of the world as well. But again, it boils down to which one makes more sense to you, either of which is okay, because we need good salespeople, and we'll train you how to sell. We need people that want to help us to build this business. We'll never get to $1 billion without you helping us. So the real question is, what would an extra $500 per week do in your life? For some people, an extra $500 a month would have kept them out of foreclosure years ago. An extra $500 a week means that they can actually buy the car of their dreams. For some people, it's going to help them pay off their mortgage early. Like, what would it do for you? Maybe you could pay down your debt. As a matter of fact, what would an extra $5,000 per month do for you? That's about what I was making on a part-time basis. If you paid off all your debt, what would you do then? Would you just save in your bank account? Like, do you know what it feels like to have $50,000 in your savings account for emergencies? Would you travel? Where would you go? As a matter of fact, with the fact that our carriers already pay for our travel, What would you do then? Would you build yourself a big house? How many bedrooms would you have? How many baths would you have? Like, this is real deal stuff. To make an extra $500 a week, you're working less than 10 hours. You just need to sit down with a couple families. Would you give back to your community? Who could you help? For me, when I started making that kind of money, all I could think of was, how many other people can I train to do this? How many other people can I help to do this? Like, it's a win-win. I can make millions of dollars, and I could train my people to go out and make as much as they want to make, whether that's an extra $500 a week or $5,000 a week. It's up to you. Now, what's the next step? Essentially, just get back to the person that invited you. Ask them what to do next. No, we're not going to tell you need to pay us any fee or anything crazy like that to work for us. If you don't hold a life insurance license currently, it's not a big deal. For most people, if they have a lot on their plate, they'll get it done in about a week. If people have nothing on their plate, they'll probably get it done in 2-3 days. What it's going to cost you to get that done between your study software and everything, taking the test, background check, all that stuff, $150 or less in almost every state. Some states a little less, some states a little more, but that's the average that we've seen. And again, you're not paying that to us, but you pay it to the State Department of Insurance so you can hold a legal license. And at that point, we're going to tell you how to go out here and really make it happen. If you have no idea how to get back in contact with the person that invited you, just contact me. My personal contact info is crayNaa@gmail.com for an email address, and my direct office line is 703-659-9853. I hope that this is indeed a fit, and I look forward to working with you in the future. You have a great day.